Hello everybody, this is Simon with Let's Play Sonic Unleashed. This was another 40-minute recording session which I've mercifully cut down to about a third of it. As we have seen in Spagonia, Act 3 is actually the level that is super easily accessible, and Act 2 is the one where you have to work for a little bit. We have seen it before, but you know, just for context, see where it is and where I have to go. It is up here, and I am once again struggling a little bit with 3D platforming, which is not going to be an issue in the Act 2. A very stereotypical Act 2, as we have seen it plenty of times before. 3 circuits around basically the same level design, kind of remixed, with a little bit of a twist which we are going to see in a bit. First of all, however, you do have to in fact dash forward here, or at least hold strongly to the right. Usually I just first of all let the game take over a little bit just to see what happens, and well, what happens there is that you die. Cool. Anyway, there's a bunch of rails in this level, there's a bunch of rings in this level. This is a pretty good level. Like, I really like how varied it is, how many different challenges you have to do. It is definitely building up a lot on the skills that you have at this point. There's just a small issue with it, and that's part of why it is 40 minutes long. First of all, it is a bit of a dick, as you may tell here, and it's going to get worse with every circuit. And second of all, well, it's going to become apparent later on, and third of all, it's just genuinely pretty difficult to chain all of these things together. At this point, the game is very willing to kill you, and it will happen quite a few times. You're not going to see every single death here, but every single one that I deem unique and interesting. And anyway, another point for the entry of this game being a dick. We have been here before, but without those spikes, and now we have this guy here who will get me the first, like, 5 times all the time. Another... oops. Dick move, yes, but also another lightspeed dash thing, which I can't activate right now, so yeah, it's going to be a little bit until I can do that. And awkward moment here, because again, first time that I'm doing that. We are obviously back at the start here, and now I'm like, oh, whoa, whoa, wait, do I still have enough boost? Do I have enough boost? I don't have enough boost. And now, the real problem that I foreshadowed. Have you seen any midpoints in this level? Any checkpoints where I would respawn? No? Yeah, well, neither did I. For the S rank, doesn't really matter, because you gotta have to redo a bunch of stuff anyway all the time, because you can't die for an S rank run. But for just getting through the level, oh yeah, this is quite a lot of level to go through without dying, without making any fatal mistakes, because as I said, this level is very willing to kill you at any point, so yeah. And part of what this level does to kill you is in fact you running out of boost at certain points. This was very close, by the way. This will happen a few times where I just misjudge my stomps. It's also something where the exactness of what is demanded now will happen. But yeah, running out of boost is definitely something which this level uses to kill you. If you don't have boost on the water, like here, if you lose speed, then you will sink down and you will die. And it can definitely happen, and this does play into a factor that will become more and more apparent as I keep playing the level, and that is that at the last loop, the level basically does not give you any boost, and I'm sure this is very, very deliberate, and we will see how this affects my trying to get the S rank. Also something that does happen quite a few times, so I feel like this might have actually been to my advantage if played exactly correctly, is that sometimes I just misjudge which button I have to press on these things. I'm just like not super great at doing X or A. And anyway, another dick move at the end. Could you spot it? It's a spring, not an Eggman spring that just sends you directly into the drink. Very subtle, very nice. I always go through these springs, and only when I rewatch the footage I realize that I've never ever taken those springs. It's a bit like, yeah, kind of blind spot there. I always feel like, oh yeah, I'm doing the best I can here, but they might give me upwards boost and put me on a top route. Something to ponder at some point. But yeah, you will not see the complete toppest route there. You will see a bunch of spikes and me falling into them, and Yeah, that hurt a little bit, because as we all know, spikes from the side also hurt. I actually did not know that, because, you know, if you just got hit, as we just saw, you can stand on those spikes because you're still invincible, but not for long. And yeah, that is what happened at the end there. Anyway, a slightly different route here, because the last time I took it somewhat differently, and here I could actually avoid the X and A booster thing. Interesting. There's these tiny things in this level. There's a lot of them here, where I feel like there is a slight optimization possible, where you just boost over something, and it happens sometimes to me. Like I try, for example, often to jump up here and just boost all over this and just land to the right, but it's very hard to replicate this, and getting good at this level. Just going through this level didn't take me that long. Like, I cut out maybe 2 minutes in total, so maybe it took me like twice as time at the very most, but that's fine. At my skill level, I can just learn some of the more annoying traps and the more dickish moments, and then otherwise I'm just like cruising through there. But now obviously want to get an S rank, and that is going to prove a little bit more problematic. I also need to get another moon medal, which I'm extremely close to here. Like, you could probably even see the path to it. I just didn't realize it at all when I played this segment. When I rewatched the footage, I was like, oh wow, I almost got it, because it took me like another 20 minutes to get to the part where I'm actually getting it, because I never ever fell down at the start again. So yeah, it's a bit of a lesson to be learned. Like, sometimes stuff is just hidden in an unoptimal path, and not by staying at the very top. Anyway, I mean, of course I knew the moon medal was there, I've seen it in general, but I didn't realize it was only accessible at the first loop. Something to ponder anyway. Yeah, these kinds of mistakes, you can see that this is like the first time I'm doing this. They won't happen that much more often. And general, these kinds of embarrassments here, where I'm trying to feel things out. I was trying to go back to that pulley thing, couldn't get it. It was like, okay, it had obviously despawned, but yeah. And you can probably tell, like, here I'm trying a few different routes, like this one here, and like, is this good? I don't know. And yeah, it's not great, and I'm never going to be here again, for the record. But it might be a little bit more interesting to do this if you're doing it really nicely, but I didn't really feel like trying to optimize this route. So this is actually the very last time we're going to see this, because I found a different one that just works a lot more consistently. It feels better. And I guess I could try and compare these, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I just massively flopped up here again. I don't know why, but it is very difficult for me to hit the correct button for this last booster, and it's strange, I don't get it. But anyway, here again we could see the moon medal is up there, and I'm starting to formulate an idea, like, what if I drop down? Is that it? If I drop down? But yeah, this is the first time I get this pulley, and I'm like, oh, okay, so there's some guys here, and I'm thinking again, is like, is it only time, or is it points as well? Because if it's points, then maybe I'll need to kill these dudes up there. Anyway, another missed stomp. There's just a few deaths here and there as I'm trying to figure these things out. I'm like, I need to turn around? Very weird, but okay. Anyway, quite good time, 120 at the end. I'm like, oh, I just hit the wrong button again. It's just nerves, I don't know. It's like I'm almost finished stringing together a bunch of stuff, but I'm like, oh yeah, I've just caught in a deadly speed trap of momentum. Great stuff, excellent, I love it. And here I'm like, oh, okay. And this is one of these things where I'm like, okay, so if I could replicate this, if I could always like boost through all of these obstacles, then isn't this great? Like, wouldn't this be awesome to just skip a bunch of the level? I'm sure that speedrunners do this. That's not true, because I know that speedrunners do some absurd stuff where they just break the physics and just like loop around deliberately all the time. But yeah, and again, there is just a few moments where I just show nerves at the end. There I have a pretty good run, but then I just like the last few obstacles, I'm like, you know, I just don't want to screw this up, and then I screw it up. So it's very annoying. This happens a few times, and as I said, I'm not showing every single one of those. And now, for finally, I realized, you know what? Don't just drop through the booster or try some fancy going back straight. Just like try to see if there is something at the bottom at the first loop, and yeah, there is. Yeah. When I'm finishing this one up and I again hit the wrong button for some reason, I don't get punished by the spikes, which is interesting. I feel like they have a priority for the wall jump animation over the getting hurt animation, which is wild. But yeah, one thing that is an actual consequence of there not being a bunch of boost at the end of the level, like in the last loop, is that you can't boost into the goal unless you really save up a bunch of it. So that's something where I'm like, yeah, you know, I don't know, maybe if I save this boost and use it to really go into that final ring, because there is a score component for that, right? Don't forget that. Yeah, anyway. Do I make it? Yeah, correct. And here, boosting into the goal, this is basically what I had planned this entire time. Like, this is pretty close, this is pretty close. It's 140, and I feel like I could do it like at least 10 seconds quicker if I don't screw up. But also, you know, it is a difficult level. You can screw this up easily. For example, if you keep hitting the wrong damn button. And here I finally realized, you know what, if I don't boost, then actually I can make this. So you can save yourself, so that's nice. And I even jump into the balloon here, but then I still get hit. So it's like, this final part is cursed. Like, what's going on? Why is this so difficult? I don't know. And here it's just like 5 seconds slower than the last time, and this is a huge difference. You could tell, like, this is like 20,000 points fewer than the last time. Okay, maybe I did get hit a few times, but there's always a few things that go wrong. And again, I don't know why I keep hitting the button. It's just, as I said, nerves. And so this is really embarrassing, where again I could feel like, I could have had something. And I even saved up a boost here. You see that I have a bunch more energy left, so I can go through the goal ring faster. We could even attempt a skip at the end, but of course that embarrassing display meant that I'm losing the S rank for sure. Here again I'm trying this boost, but now I don't have any energy, so I didn't save up enough. And this is a really delicate balance you have to do if you do this again casually. There are obviously speedruns where just break everything and like trick the game into looping around very early at the start. All of these loop levels have speedruns that are basically done within like 30 seconds, because you just instantly loop around with some crazy stuff. But here's where I decided, you know what, I'm quite close. I feel it. I got these 95,000 points run already. So what if I have more ring energy? Could I save up more with these rings at the start? Could I have a little bit more top speed just so that I get these 5 seconds, 3 seconds even for free? Because it seems to matter a lot. So I'm trying this. I don't know still why it took me like 20 tries to not jump over these vases at the start, by the way, because you can just go through them. But anyway, this is basically a run where I have learned a lot, where I know to skip this booster so I can go over here, because otherwise it will send me down on the slope path. Go down here. I did in this case hit the booster, and then I can't have any control. That is really annoying, because if you are boosting off a booster, then for a bit you can't control Sonic, and this means that I can't jump into the balloon. Like, this is not a skill issue. I keep hammering the jump button there, but that just doesn't work anyway. This is basically the route that I know I can consistently do, and I settled on. I feel like maybe I should have experimented with a little bit more to get a little bit more consistency, to maybe find a top route that is in fact always 5 seconds faster. And yeah, it also allows me to do stuff like this, because if you are high up already, then you can do some interesting skips where you just go over a bunch of stuff. And yeah, once again, I don't know why I never took these sprints. It's just like, it didn't occur to me that, oh yeah, I just never did that. Yeah, this was a nice run, I feel like, but you know, sometimes a nice run gets ruined, and I still do not have consistency with this damn thing at the very end. It really annoys me, I don't know why. At the very least, this one here I finally pulled off correctly, and now I'm like 144. It's still not significantly better. Why did Sonic slide over there? So even with all of the extra level ups, it still didn't really help. And now let's watch this run, because this is another run from the start, so this is probably going to be good, right? So we're going up here and up here through these ones. Can I even go further up on the first loop? I don't think so, but I mean, I'm willing to be surprised. Hit this one here as a great again. There is great and there is nice. Nice is if you barely make it, and great deals more points to you, so that's interesting. Jump over here so that I can do this. Skip up here. I don't know quite how to reach the top ring here, so that's also something to consider. Maybe once again, make sure that I retain control, then take the booster so I can go up here, very deliberately use the balloon to go to the stop route here. and do jump over there, because otherwise you land on low round. I've also had painfully felt that. Don't miss the jump up here, because I want to kill all of these dudes. Land up here as well. Avoid the trap spring completely, so I don't have to think about that. Jump immediately when you land here. Can't do the light speed dash. This one was a bit awkward. Like, this is actually going further than I thought, but okay. And this one we have seen before, just really quickly, highly up, so that we jump a bunch above these things. I actually would like to get the robot here, but I also don't want to really stop to deliberately do a homing attack on it, you know, just for extra ring energy. At this point I'm like, I don't know how worth it is actually to save up stuff, so this is the last ring energy that you get in this level. Don't forget this, because there are no more rings at the end here. So I have to think if I want to use this here, but I've run into these spikes plenty of times, so I'm not doing it. Find it in the correct buttons, use the last bit of boost to go into the goal ring. 138, and it's still not an S rank. And at this point, as I said, I'm 42 minutes recording and I'm like, you know what, I'm so close. Do I really want to grind out another almost perfect attempt to just die at the finish line, where, you know, what I could do, wait until I have lightspeed dash, take that lightspeed dash path and immediately get the S rank. So I'm blue balling all of you. This is not an S rank run. Thank you very much for your attention.